Medical animation is a process of using computer animation to educate an audience on a medical issue, and also to create an emotional connection between the jury and often the plaintiff. How do you cross the divide between the MD on the stand and the layperson in the jury box? How do you make sure that they're being educated properly? If you are a plaintiff attorney, you are going to want the jury to understand your client's pain. Medical animations make sure the jury really understand not only what happened to your client, but how it happened and what its long-term effects were. Human beings remember 85% of what they're shown, but only 15% of what they're told. We learn visually. If you're going to teach a jury something very complex, like brain surgery, you need every tool that you can possibly get, and the biggest tool that you can wield is a visual illustration of that injury. We use science to make sure the information that's in front of them is accurate. It's one thing to have a case where your client gets hit by a car. It's not that difficult for a jury to maybe understand the pain and suffering. But then you have situations where that same person's biggest injury from that whole thing was the traumatic brain injury that they received when their head hit the ground. And you have to tell a jury that little black dot on that MRI is the reason why my client's life from here on out is changed for the worse. You need a jury to understand what this person's day-to-day life is going to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and 20 years from now, in ways that X-rays and MRIs can never do. We will then start to get into the technical aspects. We'll read the op report. We will read any surgical reports that were done. We will go through all that and get a breakdown, and we will create our own technical outline of everything we found. Once that is done, we will confirm with the client and his medical experts. We then have to start making a 3D model. We are able to use software that converts MRI data and CAT scan data into actual 3D models of your client. Once we have that 3D model, we will then work with experts and try to make an animation that accurately reflects the opinions that they have. That's when we really focus on telling the story of what happened to your client and the effects of what they went through, short-term and long-term. We understand that not only do we have to create an animation that effectively educates the jury, we have to create an animation that the medical experts are excited to use. I can't tell you how many times I've seen great work being made by an animation firm, but they never involved the actual expert in the process of making it. So we work back and forth with them, constantly getting their input so that they feel this animation is not an animation that we created. This is an animation that they created. They now feel empowered to connect themselves to the jury. What you really need is someone to be able to understand the science behind it, but also understand the jury. That understanding of how important it is to have tools up there, I think, is what gives 3D Forensic that edge that other firms just simply can't understand. People only learn when you put them in an environment where they feel safe and they feel respected. A jury that is intimidated or afraid of the science that's being described to them aren't going to learn. We treat the jury with respect. We give them animations and presentations that make them feel safe to learn. You make an empowered jury, they are going to be excited, they're going to be engaged, they are going to ask questions of themselves and of the work in front of them. We have many tools in our arsenal to create and be on the forefront of the medical animation industry. One tool that we have is our ability to get on the stand and get in front of a jury and educate them that what they are about to see is forensically accurate. That's not a tool you can buy. That's not something that you can have a software program make. That is 25 years of experience of saying, if we make it, we defend it. Technology is always changing and growing, and we are moving with the technology, but one thing you cannot get off the shelf is experience.